This is the Power Producers Podcast, where we are refining and redefining the sales game.
Rule number one is you have to believe in yourself. You're the only one who doesn't think you belong in this appointment. The prospect has already validated your existence by scheduling time with you. Get it through your head you belong here, go in there, crush it, and close the deal.
A place where sales professionals can come to learn from other sales professionals and thought leaders that have mastered their craft.
The difference between a good salesperson and a best-in-class salesperson is only 2 minutes. By spending an extra 2 minutes on what you might think is a mundane task in the sales game, you separate yourselves from the pack, you grow your book of business, you close more deals, and you retain your accounts.
As well as their peers who are still striving for perfection to achieve their why.
I have a wife and 4 kids. Failure is not an option.
Real sales professionals, real stories, real results.
It's no different than being a professional baseball player. You can't be a one-trick pony. You have to be a 5-tool player in order to succeed in this game.
This is the Power Producers Podcast, production redefined. Are you ready to feel the power?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Power Producers Podcast, where we are refining and redefining the sales game. Today, I am flying solo because Mr. Kyle Houck had a new business appointment, which, as his agency principal, I highly encourage him to attend. And so I'm going to be asking the questions, but I've got a special guest, Mr. John Wales from CoverWallet. And I wanted to bring them on for a couple of reasons. Number one, because I think a lot of people see their display advertising, but they're afraid to click and go under the hood because they don't want them haunting them like everybody else that jumps into our Facebook and LinkedIn news feeds. So this is going to be some pure talk with him about their platform so that you can listen risk-free. But number two, probably most importantly to me, we have decided we are going to use their platform at Florida Risk Partners to build out our small commercial unit and do so much more profitably than we would be able to do on our own. So after that grandiose introduction, it's my pleasure to welcome Mr. John Wales. John, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks, David. It's great to be here.
Yes, sir. So listen, we start the show the same every single time when we have a guest on. We ask them to sort of bring us up to speed. I know you and I talked a little bit off recording that you're 20 years in the industry, but why don't you sort of give us the 10,000-foot overview about who John is and how he got to CoverWallet, and then we're going to dive in.
Okay. First, I started off in insurance as a captive and realized that I was getting awards and perks and things, but it wasn't necessarily ending up in my wallet. So for me, it wasn't a good fit. Most of the captives I've worked with wanted a personal lines type of business. And I have a passion for helping the small business owners. So for me, my world was small business. I knew I had the passion for it and I had the desire to learn. And I'll tell you, boy, did I jump in and learn some hard lessons and some growing pains as I got started. I grew my agency from a small onesie-twosie shop. I was focusing in on micro-commercial. I grew that to eventually an average of $5 million in premium written a month with some of the larger risks. And I went through that experience, through the school of hard knocks, learning what not to do by doing it wrong. And I lost a lot of deals on doing that. And I grew personally as I was going through that agency growth process. And I sold my agency. We decided to move from sunny Southern California to upstate New York, and which there's about a foot of snow on the ground right now. So I'm questioning the wisdom of that decision. But I came up here and went to semi-retire. And I discovered CoverWallet for agents through one of their recruiters. And I grilled them in the process saying, why would I want to come and work for your company? And they explained, you know what, we have this wholesale platform, CoverWallet for agents. And we have this great technology, but we're focusing in on fine-tuning our sales process. And we would like some like some guidance and help doing that. And I said, sure thing. It fits right in line with my personal fulfillment. I get my fulfillment by helping agents grow their book of business. So what better way can we help agents grow our business by creating an actual tool that allows them to connect to their prospects and allows them to connect their prospects right to the carriers through a live integration.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very slick platform for certain. What's your role at CoverWallet? I mean, what's your official title?
My official title is the sales manager. I run all the front end teams, some of the operations, and to a certain extent, the relationship with CoverWallet for agents and our insurance team and the carriers.
So it's safe to say it's not Chief Retired Officer.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
You're running and gunning, man.
Dude, I've realized I'm not happy unless I'm working 50 hours a week or more.
You know what? 50 is not a bad number, though. I came out of the grocery industry. I ran grocery stores and super targets. Those are 100-hour-a-week jobs. When I came into the insurance industry, I worked 50 hours a week. I felt like I was on vacation and realized that I was working twice as much as my competition. So 50 is the magic number for me, too.
Yeah, I can tell you, I had hair before I joined the insurance industry, and now I'm trying not to blind people. So
there you go. There you go. Well, let's talk a little bit about CoverWallet and how it helps agents. We have a lot of people who listen to Power Producers Podcast, and they're from a variety of agency sizes and shapes. And, if there's one thing that's true, even though we all do the same thing in terms of the mechanics of placing insurance, every single agency is different. So I don't know how excited I personally would be about having to design a product that would integrate and fit with everybody. But it seems like you guys have done a really good job of doing that. And so I'm interested in sort of, the theory behind why CoverWallet was developed, with some of the successes that you have, and just sort of talk a little bit about the product and why it makes sense for agencies that are writing commercial lines business today.
Okay. Let me give you a little bit of story on how CoverWallet itself was created. CoverWallet was created by our founder, Iñaki, and he was tasked at his current business to find a business policy for their operations, and found that it was very difficult to get a quote. I mean, he was asking agents, and he would ask an agent, "Oh, I don't write that." Or he would go down the line until he found somebody who wrote the insurance, and then by then, that was the days of the old Accord. So you're signing Accord, you're getting back and forth, and it took him almost a month to be able to bind that policy. And he thought that there had to be a better way. So he created CoverWallet, which our main organization deals with retail end users, and he created a better way for the end user to book insurance. A natural evolution of that is saying we've created a great product for insureds to book their policies. Why not bring that to the agents? We have a gold mine here. We have such a complex technological machine that could really help agents grow their business. And in 2019, so the end of 2018, CoverWallet for Agents was created, and we are the wholesale arm of CoverWallet, and our focus is to become an asset to the agents that we are working with. How do we do that? I can tell you one of my conundrums when I was growing my agency is that I knew how to market. Right? I really knew how to market. I had Facebook ads, you name it. I was on.
Yeah, blessing and a curse.
Oh, yeah. If you're working in social media, you have to love instant feedback. And you have to be able to know how to target your ads. And it was a learning experience, but I learned the basics, and I learned how to market, and I learned how to market myself and my agency and the products that I was doing. I joined several networking groups that helped me create the program that I used. And I realized that there was a huge gap between marketing, and fishing, getting the fish on the hook, to cooking the fish. There's the whole step of reeling the fish in and learning how to cook the fish. It's like we go out prospecting for gold, we get the gold in the pan, and we're doing the happy dance, saying yay. Then we look at the gold and we're wondering, how do we get that to the bank? So
funny because I'm headed to Key West to go offshore fishing this weekend. So your fishing analogy is very appropriate right now. And I agree with you, man. I mean, I think about that all the time. Any kind of production is the same. We can hook the grouper, but you got to give that thing 3 to 5 good cranks to get it off the bottom, then fight it all the way up and get it landed in the boat. Otherwise, you didn't catch any fish, right? So I'm interested in hearing as you continue how this sort of developed.
yeah, so my experience was actually in Alaska. So I was fishing in Alaska and realized, I had a salmon on the hook, and man, we were working really hard to reel that sucker and put it in the boat. And I get it almost to the boat, and then I realize, crap, I forgot a bucket. How? So again, learning experience of having a dead salmon floating around in your boat because we didn't bring a bucket. That I knew how to fish. I knew the bait. I even figured out how to reel that sucker in without breaking the line, but I didn't know how to necessarily put it in the bucket to get it ready for cleaning and cooking. So one of the big things that CoverWallet allows is we have what's called a shared application feature. And our tech team has done a great job at developing this product that will allow you to, it will allow the insureds to start their quote process with you just by clicking a link. You can review it every step of the way, and they can actually get a bindable quote instantly. The issue with middle market and small market deals, especially as you're dealing with micro markets, it gets there, is that you're filling out accord forms for something that's going to net you $150. Think of the time value that you're spending to do that. How can we make that more efficient? The shared application feature is designed to do that. So if you want, you can enter in the quote at any time and then share a specific line of business quote to your insured. They can click a button and buy it, and you're done. When I was doing accords, it would take me 2 to 3 hours on a medium-sized deal to get the accords right and to get it into the carriers and to go to get into the process. So as an exercise last month, we decided to have a race to see who can go from start quote to actually get a bindable quote. So I was able to do it in 3 minutes and 48 seconds. So from the time entering the customer's information to the time we get an actual quote, under 4 minutes. Compare that to the day of trying to use whiteout on an accord. And yes, I'm kind of old school.
Oh, I remember. I remember those days.
Yeah, and then when you participate in the CoverWallet family, in our experience, so everything is real-time integrations, and as tech companies start getting into this field, there are many that exit right away because of how complex it is. Think about how many questions there are per app. Think of how many carriers, how many lines of business, multiply it. I mean, there are hundreds and thousands of combinations that you need to be able to process that application in a way that the carrier will absorb the information. So we take all that complexity and we turn it into a single app. It's guided. You walk through it, click next, 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 next. It's super easy. And then the carrier has an option to ask you questions. So it's not just a one-way rater. The carrier may say, based on your description, I have a separate set of questions for you that I want to know so that we can get this through underwriting and we can get you an automatic approval. So we then display those questions. They're answered. They go through. Our system will select which carriers are going to buy it and which aren't. Who's going to write what. And then we send it to those specific carriers. And more often than not, you get an instantly bindable quote back. And here's the thing is we are dedicated we don't want to hold you hostage. We don't want to keep your data. We even give you the ability, say CoverWallet doesn't have a market. you can actually download the Accords if you really want to do the Accords. So we're not here to hold an agent hostage. We're here to be a tool in your arsenal. We really want to help you grow, and we're developing our technology to do that.
So I have a question for you. Actually, I have a couple questions for you. The first one is, what's the most successful way that agents are integrating CoverWallet into their agencies now? Because what I heard you say was that a customer has the ability to start a quote themselves. So is that something where, and forgive me, because we're still going down the road of getting everything onboarded here at Florida Risk, so I'm not 100% sure the answer to this question. I just know how I would set it up in my mind to make it work the best. But is that some sort of an iframe? Is it some sort of a display with the link attached to an image where people can click and then it's a redirect to the CoverWallet site? I'm interested in how that's set up so that it's client facing and they can start that process on their own.
Cool. So first of all, during the registration process, you're asked to upload your logo and your contact information, of course. So when you're reaching out to the insureds, it's your information that's front and center. It's not CoverWallet every time. We are really promoting your agency. So when you sign up, there's a link generated that's specific to your agent. If you have an agency with 10 producers, each producer can use a different link and get credit for their own deals. That link can either be used as shortened and used as an email signature. I used mine on email, and I used mine in social media for the most part. I did not have the skill to get an iframe created. I since learned how, and we have several agents that are using that successfully. There are two success stories in the shared application feature. We have many agents that have a great flow where their marketing machine and the prospects are just clicking their link and they're reviewing and clicking OK. Yep, nice to know I made money today for sharing a link. And that seems to be working with a group of our agents. We also have agents that wish to be more involved and more engaged and more as of a consultant. For those agents, what they do is they will start the quoting process. They will get everything ready. And then when it comes time to pay, then they will share the quotes that are pertinent to that insured directly to the insured. The insured will then click a link, buy and bind. So what we're seeing two paths of success there.
So here's a question for you. Walk me through the buyer's journey. If I'm the customer and I click that link and I go through the quoting process, what does that look like? Is this true quote bind issue, or does the agent need to review it before the policy can officially be bound and issued? And then also, I'm assuming from an accounting function, all of this stuff is direct bill, so we don't have to worry about agency bill getting in the middle of it because everything's getting billed directly from the carrier or directly from CoverWallet. And feel free to correct me where I'm wrong.
No, first of all, everything is not only direct bill, but it's set up to be on auto pay. So once something is booked, we want to make it as painless as possible for that insured to retain with your agency and retain with CoverWallet. As far as the journey on board, it is a true application, quote, and bind process. As a insured, I would log on to your website, click the link, or go into the iframe, and I would select the product that I would like to do, whether it be general liability, BOP, commercial auto, non-trucking commercial auto, or professional liability, cyber liability, special events, whatever product that you're looking at, you just select in the menu the option that you would like to quote. And what really makes us remarkable is you can combine those options. So in one step, I can quote a GL and a PL policy in one application. I'm not going to have to run the insured twice. As an insured, when I'm logging in, I just select what I need. I fill my information out. I answer the questions that the carrier has that are simple yes or no, and I click submit. If if everything is correct and acceptable by the carrier within, the average is 15 seconds, you get a screen that comes up and say, here are your options. So you may have a GL option with, maybe you'll have a GL option with Hiscox and Chubb, or Guard. It'll show you your options right there on the screen, and you simply choose the one that you need. The agent, once it is bound, the agent receives a little notification in their dashboard, and you can see it under recent applications. And you can click on it and see exactly what was done, what was bound. If you see any errors, you can always contact us. I know that if we see any errors or something that might be misclassified, we immediately call the agent and say, hey, you have a landscaper here that's working on roofs. Can you?
I was going to say you have a roofing company here, and everybody's in 8810. I mean,
yeah, it's like, okay, everybody's sitting at a desk. Be hard to get the desks there on top of the roof.
Yep. It's crazy. So talk to me a little bit about what happens once the policy is bound. How does the onboarding process work for an agency? Meaning, does CoverWallet retain the policy? Are you the named agency that's on the policy, or does that get passed to the agency that produced the business? And then the other question that I have is, how does this get contemplated in downloads and everything else into an AMS?
So at this point, we're still working on the technology to be able to integrate with the AMS. We were recently purchased by Aon, and that brings a whole new world of global compliance that we are working on. What we're working on first is the allowing of XML downloads. It's forthcoming. We are hoping to have it done by the end of the year. As far as onboarding, once the insured is bound, you have the ability to download any of the forms, the application, the policy documents, the draft certificate of insurance. All the documents that are available for the policy are right there and can be downloaded via PDF.
What about issuing certificates? I'm trying to think of all of the different things that agents would ask you if they had the ability to do that. How about certificates? Are the agencies able to issue certificates on these policies internally, or is that something that needs to be requested through CoverWallet?
Funny you ask. I've been working with our legal department to be able to have agents generate their own certificates. We expect that ability to be happening sometime in March. Currently, the certificates need to be requested through the system. And part of the reason that we're doing that is, if it's within the policy bounds, if there's no specific endorsement, the certificate is instantaneous. Mm-hmm. If there is an endorsement, that will go through our service center, and we request the endorsement right there from the carrier. And then once the endorsement is received, then we generate the certificate. We just want to make sure that the certificates are issued correctly. The last thing we want to do is have an agent have an E&O claim because they forgot to check a box.
No, and I agree with that too. I think the other thing is, if I'm looking at places where an agency might object, agencies that are the old guard like control. They don't realize that you can actually delegate things to other people to get done, and it makes your business more profitable to do that. That's management 101. You delegate to the lowest level of competency and everything. And so from my perspective, one of the reasons why we don't really mess with a bunch of small business is because we don't want to have to worry about servicing a bunch of small business, because that's a time suck and a profit suck from my agency when we're dealing with, middle market accounts that are $250,000, $500,000 in premium. What attracted me to CoverWallet is the fact that now we can capture revenue off of all of that small business that we would typically not mess with. And we're not picking up a massive service burden in the process because we can offload all of that to the platform. And so my challenge to anybody who's listening to this that's worried about controlling it and not being able to issue your own certificates and all of these other things, look at how much money you're saving by not doing that.
Yeah.
Look at how much you're not opening your agency up to by not doing that. You write it, you can be responsible for it. I have no problem with that at all. I mean, I think that's what actually makes it more appealing than, some of the other raters that would integrate with an agency management system. It's saving some time for my team, but I still have to do all the service work and certificates and all of the other things. You guys are handling billing, you're handling endorsements, you're handling I don't know what's bad about that.
Yeah, the whole platform is designed to be easy and to be quick and efficient. I'm going to tell you a story. When I was first opening up my agency, I went into a market. I'm not going to officially say trucking. That I realized, I all of my competition was charging these huge broker fees, and me being the new guy on the block came in and said, "I'm going to do it for half the broker fees, yay!" And I jumped in and I cleaned up the market. I wrote about $6 million of trucking business, and it almost put me out of business because the service requirements cost me more money than I made on the policy. There's just no way that I had that expertise to maintain writing that line of business the way I was. And it was just a big eye-opener. So now, on a smaller scale, think about the ability to submit the micro business, even to the mid-sized business. I mean, we have agents that will submit $25,000 workers' comp policies. I mean, we don't have a ceiling. We have the ability to write what we need to write. But imagine writing that and then not having to deal with the financial cost of the servicing.
Yeah, we use the Insurance Agent app here in my agency, and I don't know if you're familiar with them or not, but one of the things that we have the ability to do is take our CoverWallet link and put it into the app under the Get a Quote button so that if we have an existing relationship, let's just say we write an artisan contractor for general liability and now they need workers' comp, they can go into the Insurance Agent app, under our agency, hit Get a Quote, and it'll automatically take them to the CoverWallet site where they can begin the quoting process directly from their mobile device. I absolutely love that. I mean, looking at ways to round accounts and then doing that easily, imagine how quickly someone is going to tell their friends about how easy it was to get an insurance quote from a mobile app, and went to multiple carriers too, because I do think it's important. This isn't the same thing as like going to a Progressive or a Geico who probably has the ability for you to get a quote from them from their app. I don't know, but you're actually, from a sales perspective, you're posturing yourself positioning yourself as giving more value than anybody else out there, because you're going multiple places that they can see you going to. So the perception is there that they're getting the best product for the best overall value just because of the way that the process works. But for me, that's a huge deal that now we can advertise, hey, look, you need a quote for this, you need a quote for this, hit this button, it's going to take you exactly where you need to go. And then, it's mailbox money for me, right? I don't even need to know about it. I'll know about it when I get paid, but aside from that, I don't need to know about it.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point. Imagine how much the world has changed. I grew up with, a cell phone that required a separate suitcase. And I remember paying, $19 a month for 19 minutes kind of thing. There's no way that I could have predicted just how much of the world we hold in our hands. I still remember my math teacher in high school saying, "Well, you better learn these tables, or else you'll never have a calculator with you all the time." And I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, I guess what I do, and it's the people's world now. So is in the sphere of their cell phone. We look at our cell phone to consume information. We look at our cell phone to communicate with others. We look at our cell phone as the true connection to the outside world. And when designing our platform, that was a big point, that we wanted to make sure that everything could be done on a mobile device or tablet. So as we roll a new feature out, There are several times that we have delayed rolling out a feature because there's been a hiccup on a mobile platform. I mean, our commitment is to make accessing the insurance markets as easy and as efficient as we can to help the agent grow their book of business.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the progression of technology just over, let's just call it 25 years, 30 years, whatever. But even over the history of music, we started out with 78s and 45s and all of that. Then we moved into cassette tapes and 8 tracks. Then we moved into CDs. Then we went to MP3 players. All of that stuff's been rendered obsolete. Because now, if you want to listen to music, you either have it stored on your phone or you have a streaming service where you can go and listen to a customizable radio channel that you create on the device that's in your pocket 90% of the time. I mean, the amount of power that we have at our fingertips just by carrying a cell phone with us, from a communication standpoint, from an information distribution standpoint, it's insane what we have in one device that fits into our pocket now. It would be an interesting picture to see somebody take a photo of everything that no longer exists or doesn't need to be used because it's been consolidated, and have like somebody standing there with a phone in their hand in front of this big pile of stuff that the cell phone has replaced. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I should do that. I still have 78s and 8 tracks, and I still have my Led Zeppelin 8 track.
Nothing wrong with that.
But yeah, it's amazing just how we consume information and how technology has changed our lives. J.D. Power just released a study saying that by 2022, 90% of insurance transactions will be assisted by a mobile device. So think about that. If you're an agent and you're not tapping into the mobile market, how much business are you going to lose as our prospects are changing the way they absorb information?
Yeah, for those of you listening, that would mean you need to be an adopter right now, because once this happens, it's going to be too late. And I talk about this all the time, John. There's adopters, there's adapters, and there's do-nothings in the insurance industry. The adopters are the ones who are going to take that J.D. Power study, they're going to read it, and they're going to make some decisions tomorrow about how they're going to proceed based off of that information. The adapters are going to wait until a bunch of other people do it and prove the concept, and it's going to cost them more, and they will have lost business as a result of waiting, but they're going to end up getting on the boat at some point. And then the do-nothings are going to sit back and say, you know what? I've always done business this way. It's never going to change. I'm just going to keep doing business this way. And eventually they're going to be extinct by virtue of natural selection because they're not changing with the times. I think that you have to have an adoption mentality in the insurance industry at this point. If you don't, you're not going to wonder, what's happening. You're going to wonder what has happened. And by then, it's too late.
To your point, I mean, in the same article, it says, even though insurance as a whole is adapting new technology, and even InsurTech was included in this survey, so over 16% of our consumers say that the insurance industry is adapting too slow.
It is. So, I mean, there's no arguing that point. I mean, I think there's probably still people out there that have a short rate wheel sitting at their desk. Now, they may be using it as a paperweight or just as a talking point when somebody comes into their office, but I've seen them, and it's crazy to think that we get so caught up. I mean, again, I think that we have a problem, especially on the agency principal side. We have control issues. We want to control every single thing that comes in and out of the agency, and we're limiting our growth to our own ability and capacity to handle things.
Yeah, as an agency owner, I had to decide, did I want control or did I want to make a successful organization, and did I want to make money? Did I want control or did I want profit? Because nowadays, as you're scaling, those are two opposite ends of the scale.
They are, and there's a mind shift that has to happen, and it's a very unique, jump going from producer to agency principal if you don't have operational experience. fortunately, I had, operational experience for the majority of my career prior to getting into the insurance industry. So for me to make a jump from being a producer to an agency principal, honestly, was kind of like me getting back to my roots to a certain degree, other than I also had to sell at the same time. So it wasn't just as simple as running the agency. I'm at a point in my career now, though, where I can support my producers. I can focus on developing them and giving them the tools that they need to ultimately be more successful. So, I've got a million different thoughts around CoverWallet and how we're going to ultimately integrate this thing into our agency. And I love the fact that each agent can have their own individual link, because that makes it very attractive to me from a tracking standpoint. And, truthfully, we don't have this issue here, but for other agencies out there, there's usually a little bit of infighting amongst producers if two people think they produced the same account or whatever else. So this can clear up some of that as well. One of the things, though, in the spirit of wanting to help agents, and I remember this from when we did our initial demo, but I do want to have you talk a little bit about the free leads that you give out. I mean, you guys are actually handing leads to agencies when they bind policies with you to help perpetuate that growth and give it a kickstart. Talk about the philosophy behind that a little bit, and then also sort of the mechanics of how that works.
Sure. First of all, you hit the nail on the head. Here at CoverWallet for Agents, it's not lip service. We really want our agents to grow. And we know that, especially in the commercial market, trying to prospect and trying to qualify your prospects and trying to gather the information, sometimes, going back to the fish analogy, we're using the bait, we're sitting on the lake and it's empty. And you don't want to go home hungry with an empty lake. So what we've done is we've partnered with some top-tier lead aggregators, and we have purchased high-quality leads that we're making available for free to the agents that are joining our platform. So, and it's meted out. You join the platform today, you get five high-quality leads. Think about that. How much is that in the market? There are some I was paying $40 per lead on.
Well, here's the first problem, John. I can pretty much bet you that a good number of the people listening to this cannot even articulate their lead acquisition cost. So, they're not helping you explain the value very well, because they don't even pay attention other than a lump sum. They don't monitor that stuff. So I'm going to tell you guys, it's expensive to get insurance leads. If you're competing with Progressive and Geico and all of the national brands for ranking and, Google paid ad traffic and all of that other stuff, that stuff's not cheap. And so, you're right, 20, 30, 40. I mean, I've seen high quality middle market lead acquisition costs north of $100 a lead. People would balk at that. Well, guess what? The account would pay me $25,000 in revenue if I get it. Am I willing to spend $100 and like my chances based on my skill set to get $25,000? All day, every day, and twice on Sundays, I'm going to take that deal. But, you have to be able to think that way. And I don't think that, the average agency understands the value in you providing leads for them, just based on the fact they don't really realize how much it costs to go out and get leads. And if they're doing it the old-fashioned way, I can promise you they're not calculating costs associated with that. They're not calculating how much time it takes to put together a leads list and then research those leads and then cold call to get, an opportunity to speak to somebody about those leads. We're not doing that. Systems aren't sophisticated enough in many of the agencies that are out there. Ours, we're able to do those things because we have HubSpot for a CRM, so we are a little bit more advanced technologically in terms of the measurements that we get, the key performance indicators, and all of that. But, I'm interested. I mean, what's the best? I know you're going to have an answer to this question, but what's the best success story that you can share of somebody who's signed up for CoverWallet? They decided they're going to give it a whirl. They got a taste of the free leads because they closed something good, and then they ended up putting a system in place to work those, because I think that's the other thing. You can give me all the leads you want me to have, but I have to have a system in place to work those leads. What's the best success story you can share of an agency that has closed a good piece of business off of free leads?
So I'm going to go back to an agent that I worked with in June. We had an agent that joined the platform booked a couple policies and just was really struggling. Sent an email just almost in desperation. Hey, what are some of I know you're an agent. You said that during our onboarding process. What are some of the tools? How did you survive this? Because entering the insurance market is not a game for sissies. I mean, it is very hard, and there are some months you're eating macaroni and cheese, and some months you're at top sirloin. And what I did is we worked with him on the free leads. He had 15 free leads that he had available to him. And I said, what are your plans for marketing these leads? And he's like, well, I called them once and they didn't call me back. Okay. So that told me right there that he didn't have a marketing plan on how to market any leads he was getting. So I sat there, I said, first, let's call them. They're not going to respond. Let's send them a postcard. Let's create a program on how to use those leads. Since then, he's been averaging 15 to 20 policies a month.
Wow, good for him.
With just in our platform. So I don't know what he's doing outside. But I've talked to him last month, and he said, thank you very much. I'm doing much better.
Talk a little bit about the information that's included with those leads so that people can get their head around how quality they are. I mean, obviously phone numbers, does it have decision makers' names or their email addresses? What all information is in there that would assist somebody in implementing CoverWallet into their agency and then converting these leads at as high a rate as possible?
So it has the person that contacted the aggregator to purchase leads, has the company information, has the phone number, has the address, has their industry. So it has the same type of information that you would get from a paid lead source. We are passing that directly through.
That's good. One of the things that we've done during COVID is we've sort of changed some of our philosophy as far as getting booked appointments. Our shtick has always been, we hang our hats and put a lot of emphasis on cold call marketing drop-in visits, where we're taking some sort of collateral that's of value to a prospect and we're leaving that with them. And really our goal in that process is to get a name and an email address, because if we have those two things, we can create a record in our CRM, get them enrolled in drip campaigns, and then all of the other things that you would want to have working for you in the background while you're still going out and physically working these leads yourself. Part of what, has been the issue, specifically because we're in middle market, as I don't want to see producers spinning their wheels working leads that aren't going to go anywhere yet. And because we have a CRM, we have the ability to score those leads when they're in there based on that IP address's activity and different things that we put out digitally that they engage with. So we know based off of that, based on the fact that our VoIP system from Lightspeed Voice integrates with HubSpot, so that anytime somebody calls that's in the CRM, the call is recorded and the recording is attached to the contact record, and we can score leads based on number of calls. I mean, there's a lot of different things that we can do. And that's a long way for me to say, those only work, our system of how we typically do things only works when the lead score shows somebody is ready to buy. So we shifted. As insurance agents, we are the ones who have set the ground rules for how people buy insurance for all practical purposes. I go out, I start a company, and I've never been an insurance agent before. Who am I going to rely on to teach me the ropes? It's going to be an insurance agent. And so by and large, if you think about it, most of these people are used to dealing with their insurance right around renewal. And so I love to get into a middle market account a month after renewal. But that's not when 90% of these people want to talk about insurance. I know that if I get in a month after renewal, my likelihood of closing that account is nearly 100% because there's enough of a problem they're willing to meet with me off cycle. That said, I think sometimes we try and be too slick and crafty in our telemarketing script, and we don't just simply ask for an appointment, or we don't ask for the opportunity to speak with the person we need to. So one of the things that we've done, and I'm in the process of building this right now, is we hired a VA. We hired a VA that has no insurance experience, no calling experience at all. And what that forced me to do was to write a script for somebody to call and set appointments that has no insurance experience and no calling experience. So it needed to be very elementary. What I found out is that works. You don't have to be cute. You don't have to have the most sophisticated script. And quite frankly, you don't really need to jump into an agency's value proposition when all you're trying to do is get an appointment scheduled. But if you're calling these people around the X dates, that 30 to 60 day to 90 day window, that's when we as an industry have trained people that we're going to reach out to them and try and communicate with them. So they're more likely to take your call. I can still differentiate myself at the point of sale by having a different message. But what this also has allowed us to do is we can literally solicit everything now. So we're not just focused on telemarketing to the middle market accounts. We have CoverWallet. We can telemarket to that small medium-sized business that doesn't really fit with the risk management approach that we take on the other things. And we can have a virtual assistant do this for us at a cost that is far less than what we would be doing paying if we brought somebody in and had them in the office every day. And the technology allows me to listen to those calls because they're attached to the record in the CRM. I can give constructive criticism or praise depending on how the call goes. But I can see this whole deal with these leads from CoverWallet. I mean, the way that I understand this program working is, you start out and you get some free leads for starting out. You bind an account, you unlock more. You bind another account, you unlock more. And so the way that I understand how this whole thing goes is the more business you write, the more leads you get.
Yeah, it's possible to get up to 30 leads on a single bind. And
that's crazy.
And I am so sure that there are benefit that for your listeners and those in your program, if they contact us and mention your program or your name, I will start them off with 20 free leads.
Whoa, look out. 20 free leads, people. Come on now. That's crazy, man. And it's much appreciated. I think, that tells me you're willing to put your money where your mouth is. Now, my challenge is who's going to close them, right? You can hand these leads to people, but they have to have that process, and that's why they listen to this show. So I'm interested in everybody reaching out to us and letting us know the success that you've had, and maybe we'll figure out a way to gamify this or make this a little competition amongst our listeners to see who has the ability to drive the most revenue over the course of a month. And this podcast is going to air in February, early February. So stay tuned, people. I'm going to announce a contest for the month of March for the people who drive the most business through CoverWallet. I'm going to have a really cool prize. And if you know anything at all about me, you know that you can take it to the bank, that it is going to be something exceptional. It's not like I'm going to send you a $5 Starbucks gift card. I actually laugh at those things because I get them all the time, in my email box. We value your opinion. We want to give you a $10 Starbucks or a $10 Amazon gift card if you'll take an hour to participate in this survey. And I'm wondering to myself, how many people who sit in my chair work for $10 an hour? Because that's what they're offering me. You're going to give me a $10 gift card for an hour of my time? I don't care if it's $100 for an hour of my time. My time's worth more than that. So people, free leads. We're going to announce a competition. It will be a substantial prize. I'll have to figure out what that looks like. It'll probably be worth at least $1,000 though, so you can be gearing up for that. But I'll be able to validate with your permission, and CoverWallet, I'm sure, will be willing to participate as long as we're all on the same page. But we'll validate that business has actually been written and submitted, and then we'll make it a bit some hoopla around it. And John, we'll have you come back on the show, and we'll do an awards ceremony, or maybe do like a Facebook Live or something, so that everybody can see it's the real deal. I mean, I may just have 10 Franklins for somebody that's able to go out there and push a bunch of business through.
Yeah, let's help the agents help themselves. I mean, I keep hearing agents, hey, we're struggling through this COVID thing, but look at all the success stories that are happening.
We're struggling because we allow ourselves to struggle. It's really that simple. For the people that are going to go out and make it happen, you're going to make it happen regardless of what the environment is that you're in. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to figure out what that angle is going to look like, but at the end of the day, the strong are going to push through and the weak are going to get stomped out.
Yep. And, we appreciate the chance to be a part of your arsenal. We want to help you succeed, and we are going to do what we can, and we will open our toolbox to give you the tools to really succeed in commercial insurance.
That's awesome. Listen, we're approaching an hour, and we try and keep these at an hour, so I want to be respectful of your time, but is there anything that we haven't covered yet that you think we need to address about the platform?
Just try. I'm going to, again, try it. Log in, try it. I let yourself be the judge and jury of how it aligns with your business process. I'm not going to I'm not going to preach on a mountain and tell you that we're the best tool for everybody. Because you know what? We're not. If you submit us a trucking application, chances are we're not going to be able to write it. It's not going to be a great experience. But for what we write and what we do, I think we are the best at it. And we are here to make the agencies grow.
Well, I can tell you this, man. The only tools that work are the ones that people actually use. So your advice is sage wisdom that just try it first. And then once you get in that habit and see how easy it is. Look, I know that you and I have both been down this road before. And if we have to go to 4 or 5 different carriers to quote a policy that's $2,500 in premium, how much time have we wasted to bring in, $325 or $350 worth of revenue? It's insane to think that we spend time going from site to site to site to site when there's a tool that's so readily available to all of us that does that on our behalf.
Yeah, and I see agents do it all the time. They will spend 6 hours trying to book a policy that they make $300 on.
One of the number one things I tell anybody who comes into Killing Commercial for the training program is you have to put a value on your own time. Don't sell yourself short. Know what you're willing to work for per hour. And if you're not able to conduct an activity and stay at that minimum hourly rate you're willing to work for, you need to figure out a way to delegate that or not do that at all, or resign the account and not represent them. I mean, none of us are in business just so that we can have money come in and that same amount of money go out. We're in business to profit. And sometimes that requires bringing other people in that are better at doing things than what we are, or have a technology product that makes our lives so much easier. And I think that that's a huge thing. So I know that by the time this episode hits the air in the next week or two, that we are going to have a special page set up on killingcommercial.com for CoverWallet. And the address is killingcommercial.com/CoverWallet, all one word. If you want to go to a safe space, if you're worried about somebody, soliciting you or whatever else, we're going to have this podcast there. We're going to have a video testimonial from me talking about the wins that we have already had in the next week or two in our agency. We're going to talk about the free leads. We're going to give you as much information as you need. And most importantly, we're going to give you a link that you can use to go sign up and start using CoverWallet in your agency immediately. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't let you know that CoverWallet is in a sponsorship relationship with Power Producers Podcast. And if you know me well enough to know that I will only represent a brand that I believe in and that I personally use. So we would appreciate it if you are thinking about using CoverWallet, if you go to killingcommercial.com/CoverWallet and use the link there to register, because we want to show them how valuable we are to them, just like they want to show you how valuable they are to you. John, I really appreciate you being on with me today. I look forward to many more years of continued success for both CoverWallet and Florida Risk Partners and all of us working together. I can't help but to think that there are a lot of people that are out there spinning their wheels with small commercial today that needed to hear this message. And I hope that they'll go to killingcommercial.com/CoverWallet to sign up and begin getting free leads. The man said he'll give you 20. Make sure you let him know when you talk to him that you found him from us, and he's going to give you 20 free leads. What do you have to lose?
Okay. Simple and easy. Let's just do it.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, I'm going to wrap this thing up. I hope that you have a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing these people come out of the woodwork and start putting business with CoverWallet immediately. I'm pumped, and I'm going to challenge my internal team on the free leads as quick as I get off of this.
You got it. Thank you very much, and I look forward to helping our agents grow.
Yes, sir. All right, man.
You've been listening to the Power Producers Podcast. You can follow Killing Commercial Insurance on Facebook and YouTube. And if you want to take your game to the next level, check out our book, The Extra 2 Minutes, and our website, killingcommercial.com.